RPN is not responsible for the views, actions, statements, or opinions of its guests, advertisers, or even its viewers. The information contained in this program is not to be construed as medical or legal advice. An appearance on this show is not necessarily an endorsement, and as always, we encourage you to do your own research. Enjoy the show. Good evening, everyone. You're listening to Red Pill 78. As always, I am Zak, the Corruption Detector, and this is another edition of Red Pill News for Friday Night Livestream. Joining me in the studio tonight, live, once again, my good friend, former X-Man and FBI agent, John DeSouza. Currently an author, speaker, and appearer in fine films. Oh, you guys know John. He needs no introduction, but just in case people here haven't seen him on the program before, we'll go ahead and go through it anyways. I hope you guys are having a lovely night. Do me a favor, I need your help. I need you to like and share this broadcast. Help us break through the algorithm. Major shenanigans taking place on the channel. I got myself a copyright strike last night. I also got a video age restricted. I couldn't believe it. And if that's not bad enough, YouTube is hiding people in the chat. They're even doing it to me on other people's channels. It's ridiculous. We're not going to let them break us, though. We're going to keep plugging along and telling the world the truth. So do me a favor, guys. Sit back, relax, grab your popcorn, and we'll be right back after a very brief word from our sponsor. Are you worried about what's going to happen after the election? Well, let's face it, this is the most viciously fought election cycle in decades, and it's not going to end well for whoever wins. The economy is probably going to take a hit, and things could get rough. Getting access to money might become difficult, and you, my friend, might need an alternative. Noble Gold's survival packs have a range of specially selected gold and silver coins to see you through the worst. Call the team at Noble Gold today at 877-646-5347 and tell them Red Pill 78 sent you. Ask them how to find out about survival packs and how they're going to keep you and your family safe whatever happens to the economy. Or you can visit the link in the pinned comment or description below. And remember, when you support my sponsors, you support this channel. All right, welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for joining us, and please join me in welcoming to the program my good friend, someone I certainly do endorse, John DeSouza. John, how are you this fine evening?
Oh, I am great, Zach. So wonderful to be here with you and with Red Pill 78 and all the corruption detection that goes on here. And your wonderful, wonderful audience. You guys, you have the best audience in the world, I can tell you that, just from my previous appearances on your show.
Awesome. Well, obviously I'm biased, so I certainly feel that way, but I do appreciate that, and I'm sure the audience appreciates it as well. Now, just in case you are new to the channel, because we get new subscribers every day, maybe you don't know who John DeSouza is. John DeSouza is he is a legend, as far as I'm concerned, in the field of the paranormal and law enforcement. This man has quite the list of bona fides. But John, please tell us, how did you get started as an FBI agent and as a paranormal investigator?
Well, it happened many, many years ago. I was an FBI agent for 25 years, and it was before the later corrupt regime of James Comey, when he came and he corrupted the organization completely and politicized it. So I was part of that previous generation, I'm very happy to say. And yes, I just went into the FBI and I started working counterterrorism cases, a lot of very big cases that are very well known to people. And also started working some paranormal cases as well, because those come up all the time in the FBI. And I always tell people if they want to see what I'm talking about, they just have to go to vault.fbi.gov themselves. They can go there and go look for that big old button that says unexplained phenomena. Unexplained phenomena, they smash that button, and that opens up UFO cases, animal mutilations, extrasensory perception cases, that's a thing, and many other types of unexplained phenomena. And it's all in there. It's amazing stuff. You can go there. You can get those documents, download them for free, and it's everywhere. It's amazing. And even a lot of the famous cases that people think they know about have paranormal implications in them, and that's what I write about in my books as well. That's it.
You know what I love about it is that the way you present it, as well as the way it's presented in the FBI's records, is it's an unexplained phenomena. I mean, this is truly something. This happened. We don't know how. We don't know why. But here it is. You go ahead and decide what's going on. And maybe other people will have some similar circumstances that happened to them. Maybe they were involved in the same kind of thing, and you guys can put it together and maybe come up with some kind of an explanation. But it's different than somebody just coming and saying, hey, guess what? I had this experience. There is an air of legitimacy to it because it's reported by an agency of the federal government.
Exactly. And I'll tell you, and I believe that may still be the case now, but under unexplained phenomena, they also had in there the JFK assassination files.
Really?
Under unexplained phenomena. And also for your older viewers, they had in there the Jimmy Hoffa disappearance, which was considered an unexplained phenomena at some point.
I have never heard that Jimmy Hoffa disappeared for any length of time. Can you tell us that story?
Oh, that's from like before I was from when I was a kid. I mean,
sure. I know, I'm not saying you were present for it.
Jimmy Hoffa was the most powerful union leader in the entire country.
Yeah.
And he was also at odds.
Oh, Jimmy Hoffa.
Yeah. Did I not say it right?
No. You said JFK, and I just thought Jack Ruby.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, Jimmy Hoffa was a totally different. And he at some point, he disappeared like so thoroughly.
Yeah.
So incredibly. Like he disappeared it was like a paranormal occurrence, right? Because there was no shred of evidence anywhere, and people searched for 10 years. For like 10 years, they searched for any sort of clue, any sort of shred of anything to say, how did he disappear? Because you just can't, somebody famous like that, you can't just make them disappear and nobody knows anything. I mean, that's just, so anyway, that's why that disappearance was placed under paranormal, unexplained phenomena for many years.
So there's actually a movie that just recently came out. I don't remember. It might have been Martin Scorsese, but it was all the similar characters that are generally in Martin Scorsese films, like Al Pacino. Right. I think Al Pacino actually played Jimmy Hoffa, and I know that Robert De Niro, who is a questionable character, he was in it as well. But I was going to say, people are still looking for Jimmy Hoffa. I mean, I still see it pop up every now and then. He's under the concrete at Yankee Stadium or something like that. But it's one of those things. Until somebody like digs it up and hauls his bones in, I don't think anybody's going to find out what happened.
Yeah, and that's just to make my point that there are many cases that look like hardcore criminal cases that end up having paranormal elements to them, and that's why I wrote my book, The Power Investigators, showing that 9/11, that appeared to be a completely physical occurrence. If you dig into it deeper and deeper and deeper, you find amazing supernatural elements that occurred in this case, both before and after the case that happened there. So that's something that I see on a regular basis.
So do they count all of the mysterious put options that happened in the days leading up to 9/11 for the airlines? Do they count that as a paranormal experience?
No, that's purely financial.
Yeah.
And it is real evidence of real malfeasance on the part of the people, the cabal that actually knocked down the 911, the towers on 911.
Right.
And shortly, and at the time that this one candidate that was running for president in like 2015, Donald Trump, he made an announcement that has stayed with us to this day. He said to everyone, "Hey, someday we're going to find out who really knocked down these towers."
Mm-hmm.
And he actually said the words, and I'll give you a hint. It wasn't the Iraqis who we went to war with. Mm-hmm. It wasn't Afghanistan who we went to war with. And he says, we may find out that it may have been and he actually said this. He said, we may have find out it may have been the Saudis. Mm-hmm. He says, and I'll just leave it at that. And that's where he left it. So that there's no statute of limitations on mass murder. Yeah. So I do believe him because he's fulfilled all his other promises, and I believe he will fulfill that one too.
Yeah, so, I mean, obviously we need to get to the truth of that. We still need to have those documents revealed from the clowns in America in relation to JFK. Everything that's been reported in the last week or so about Gina Haspel saying that she's blocking the release of the Spygate documents, it makes sense that the JFK documents wouldn't be released either. But, the whole Gina Haspel thing is up to interpretation, and I want to get your opinion on that. But first, I want to know what you have coming up. I mean, obviously, you mentioned the pair investigators. I've got my copy of the Extra Dimensionals right here. Just wanted to show that for reference. If you guys, I'll slow the chat, honey. If you guys want to follow John, his Twitter and his website are in the description of this video below. Also, he's got a special offer for the listeners. If you use code FBI, you get 20% off your purchase there in his store. So I just want to plug that for you. Tell us what's been going on.
I have been involved with doing an extension of my book, The Power Investigators. I have been educated by a great promoter named Neil Gower, that we need to bring the people tools, what he calls tools for ascension, to ascension to our next level of human evolution. And one of the tools that he pointed out that I have to show to people and to help people with is para investigation. Para investigation is nothing more than just using regular investigative methods to find out the truth of the world around you, and then going to paranormal abilities that are used to further those investigations, to penetrate the deception and the deceit that we are covered with and riddled with every single day. And so that's what I've been doing. Is I've been teaching truth investigation workshops and power investigation workshops, so that people can learn how to do these investigations on their own, so they can penetrate the reality of what's happening around them, because that's a very important skill. It's something very important. Also, I'll be appearing on Sky Life very soon. Sky Life is a YouTube channel that's about wellness, spirituality, and lifestyle. She's a very, very popular young lady who does all kinds of trying out new things. And also, we are going to be having a tremendous conference on November 1st, Sunday, called Protect the Vote, Meditation and Prayer for a Fair Election. That's going to be crazy, because we're going to be taking on the most important issue that is going on right now in the world of corruption, to talk about corruption detection. Yeah. And that's going to be protecting our election. And it's going to be headliners are going to be John DeSouza, Laura Eisenhower, the great Laura Eisenhower, and David El Nino Rodriguez. Oh, yeah. And the great Sasha Stone. Sasha Stone is going to be there. And it's going to be, we're going to have a tremendous conference to protect our vote, because people don't, especially people that are born in this country, they do not understand the importance of protecting our vote, what that means, what it entails, and what it really does to you whenever you have voter fraud that happens, let's say, halfway across the country, and you think it doesn't affect you. And it does, because under our 14th Amendment, every one of us as citizens of the United States, our vote is supposed to have equal value, equal power in the ballots, equal to each other, let's say, okay, in our constitutional republic. And what happens is, if we have voter fraud across the country somewhere, where some Pennsylvania mail carrier decides to dump out a bunch of conservative votes, that affects you because it diminishes the value of your vote when you cast it. And that's against that assails our constitutional rights, and people just don't understand and realize how important that is. And it's something that the Democrats are trying to gin up right now. They're trying to gin up the greatest voter fraud event in history of Western civilization.
Absolutely.
And that's something that we can't tolerate. We cannot tolerate. We can't absorb that as a civilization. So we need to fight back against it, and we need to stop it the best we can.
You know, obviously, my audience and your audience as well is finely attuned to the issue of voter fraud. But I think it's easy to forget that, I mean, you know, fully half of the country is still stuck in that brain fog of listening to the mainstream media and hearing that refrain constantly. Again, that Democrat talking point, voter fraud doesn't exist. It's a conspiracy theory. It's a fairy tale. Donald Trump is insane if he thinks that voter fraud exists. I mean, we not only hearing it from the media, but our former president, Barack Obama, and presidents before him, just completely dismissing the idea. And in recent weeks and months, it's become so apparent, and even more apparent to us, just how rampant that voter fraud is. I mean, it seems like every week we're having multiple stories and cases of people who are either stacking the vote, harvesting ballots, filling up excess ballots for dead people, throwing away the ballots of Trump supporters. And that's only the people that we've caught, okay? Yeah. If we have this many people forging their votes and throwing votes out in all of these various states, how much more of it is going on all across the country? And then by extension, how many of us who are aware of it are having our votes invalidated? It's an existential threat to the safety of our republic, and it is probably the most important issue that I can possibly imagine, because our balance hangs on that one issue. If they're allowed to steal the vote, and President Trump is not reelected for a second term or a third thereafter that, people love to hear that. But if Joe Biden gets into office, I mean, forget about it. I was telling you before the show, Keith Olbermann, famous loudmouth, he just did a segment where he said that Attorney General Barr, Amy Coney Barrett, Sean Hannity, the president, they need to be removed from society, he said. They need to be prosecuted and thrown in prison. And then he called us maggots, and he said that we need to be removed from society as well, and then they need to clean up the world and put it back into balance, as he said. That's what's going to happen if these people win. Voting is so fundamentally important, and I implore anybody here watching this show, if you have not voted yet, you have considered not voting, please do. Please vote. Please make your voice heard, because we fought, for many men and women died for us to have the right to be able to cast that ballot. And our country has lived a nice long time, longer than many countries throughout history. And there's one reason, that's because of our form of government, our Republican form of government. And we need to maintain that. If President Trump is not brought back into office, then that's all over, and we can just forget about our freedom.
Yeah, there's a great meme going around Facebook and Twitter that I just saw today, and it just said in big, bold graphics, make no mistake, if they win, if the left wins this election, they will be coming after you.
Oh, yeah.
And it said the taxpayers, the United States citizens, the people who work hard every day and mind their own business and think all the storm will pass over their heads, they will be coming for you. Mm-hmm. And that's the truth. That's absolutely, just like Keith Olbermann said, just like I think Kamala Harris has said in the past, and just like Hillary fully intends. because Joe Biden is nothing but a cardboard cutout. He's just a holding pattern for the most extreme left elements in our society. That's all he's there for, and they're not intending to have him hold that place for very long once he gets in. So.
John, I'm sorry. My mother has somehow lost her wrench. Speaking of YouTube shenanigans, Mom, I need you to chat so that I can see you. And she has a different account. Oh, okay. Mom, log into your other account. I can't find you. All right.
That's why I love this show, because all the family member stuff goes on.
Exactly.
I almost said, okay, honey, the other moment, because I thought you were talking.
Okay. Oh, there she is. Okay, I see her. Okay, and there you go. There you go, Mom. Now it's all taken care of. Good stuff. All right, so the point that I was going to make is that if it doesn't go down the way that we need it to, you can expect it to be like El Salvador in the 80s. Death squads running around in Jeeps or, carrying soy lattes. And coming after us, not to make light of it, but I mean, that's what it is. These people are going to become the police. They're going to be given authority.
Exactly.
If I were you, I wouldn't go to Portland. I certainly wouldn't go to Seattle. I mean, it's a danger zone. I don't want to see that stuff.
That'll be happening everywhere.
Exactly. Yeah, it's representative
going on, and that's about a month ago. I actually did presentation. I did a presentation with the great Laura Eisenhower and Michael and Professor Michael as well. And we did predictions for 2021. We did predictions for 2021. And one of my predictions was that the Antifa and the George Soros groups and Black Lives Matter, all the George Soros groups would be, after Trump wins the election, they would be transmogrifying, they would be changing into, talk about banana republics, into assassination squads.
Yeah.
Where they would simply be becoming these assassinations that would target and go after and murder people who were either in the Trump administration or high up conservative officials, or people that they consider Trump supporters, and that would be happening. And then I released that in one of my presentations that we did online. It was very popular, extremely popular presentation. And then the next day, that Antifa member targeted that Trump supporter and walked up behind him and just fired 2 shots into his head and killed him. Killed him right after that. That is the beginning of an activity that is going to be getting sharper and more focused as we go on in time. That's going to be just like talk about banana republics. It's going to be just like that. Death squads. That was the name of that prediction right there. Death squads.
That's you're right on target there. Unfortunately, you know how we feel, guys, when we watch President Trump speak. If you get to go to a rally, you feel energized, you feel emboldened. Only we feel energized and emboldened for love of our country. These people see something like that, and they feel energized and emboldened to go out and commit more heinous acts. And it's not just that they're looking for people who are Trump supporters. I mean, they're almost indiscriminately discriminating against people of a certain ethnic makeup. And just recently, this past week, they were running the streets of Wisconsin again. And they were just going through a suburban neighborhood and just smashing out windows on people's homes. And someone came outside and they were like, do you realize that everybody on this street supports you? Well, there goes that goodwill.
Yeah. Black Lives Matter is also targeting and killing people in black neighborhoods and black people in law enforcement officers who happen to be black.
Yep.
So what does that say about their name? They're not doing anything for Black Lives Matter at all.
No.
It's actually the opposite. So it's all part of the same mess that is going forward here, and that is threatening and it is the reason why countries have treason statutes and insurrection statutes. That is the Second Amendment for nations. And that's why we have it. And that's why we must, and I believe eventually Donald Trump will use the insurrection statutes and the treason statutes.
God, I sure hope so.
All of these people. And that's the only way that he can really root out these people eventually. And I think it's going to have to be how it's going to be done.
Well, I mean, he took an excellent step forward the other day, categorizing Antifa and KKK as terrorist organizations, both ironically militant wings of the Democrat Party, however diametrically opposed in their viewpoints. But I mean, honestly, actually, you know, when you think about it, I mean, they're fairly well aligned. You know, I mean, they're both militant. They're both hyper focused on race, only just different races. And I think that was a great step forward. I would like to see it put into action. So far, I haven't seen anyone identified as a member of either of those groups getting arrested. But obviously, things have to happen in the way they have to happen. You know, I've often said that October was probably going to be a big month. They don't say it. They don't call it October surprise for nothing. People tend to see big events taking place right before major elections like this. And the reason being, if it happens too soon, too early in the year, then it gets buried by the news cycle. Something else comes and it drowns it out. You know, if you have a scandal for one candidate, then that candidate's campaign staff are going to come up with a scandal for the other candidate. And they're just going to tit for tat back and forth. You know, the biggest thing right now outside of the voter fraud issue is the question of the Durham investigation and then all of the sub-investigations below him. Now, we just had U.S. Attorney John Bash from Texas. He was looking into the General Flynn situation, and now he has resigned as U.S. Attorney. He's moving on to do something else. I haven't seen or heard that anybody was going to be replacing him, so I don't know that that investigation is still ongoing or if it's completed or not. But, you know, one thing that's been reported very recently, I mentioned Gina Haspel. Clearly, it looks to me that Christopher Wray has done a fair amount of obstruction himself. But he was testifying the other day before, I believe, the Senate Homeland Security Committee. If it was a different committee, judicial or something like that, correct me in the chat. But he stated specifically that the reason they haven't made many of these documents public is because he was asked not to by John Durham himself so that he wouldn't interfere with his investigation. Obviously, you don't make documents and evidence that are part of a criminal case or a criminal investigation public until they've already been used in that investigation and all the evidence in the case is locked up solid. So I wanted to get your opinion on this. You know, Gina Haspel, you know, I'll be perfectly honest. I mean, I pegged her as a white hat 100% a long time ago. Not only because she wore that dress with all the white hats on it, but it seemed like she was portrayed in a positive light in the posts from our favorite Anon. And you know, I figured President Trump chose her for a reason, even if she wasn't a white hat, maybe perhaps at best a gray hat. But the majority of press in the last week or so has been Haspel is blocking, Wray is blocking, and, you know, I don't know that she wasn't told the exact same thing by John Durham. But we were just hit today with all of these stories in the mainstream media and also Gateway Pundit, I'll say that, by the statement from Attorney General Barr that unequivocally, no, we are not going to get the results of Durham's investigation, excuse me, before the election. So what is your opinion? Our favorite Anon just said, don't believe everything you read. What do you feel as a former law enforcement officer?
Yeah, it really does look to me like we're not going to get anything out of that before the election. I don't think he's going to drop everything or start dropping all the indictments and arresting people and all that. I don't think it's going to happen before the indictment. And I can tell you the reason I don't believe that is because I believe that Donald Trump, President Donald Trump, knows what the results of the election are going to be, and that he knows on a personal level, maybe a prophetic level, he knows what's going to occur in this election. He knows he is going to be reelected, and he knows all of these things are going to go forward, like the last scene of Godfather 3, where it's just like, or was it Godfather 1, where, you know, it's going to be that baptism of the baby where everything goes forward and they start kicking in the doors and the military comes in, the military goes to all these places and says, we got your vaccines, but guess what? You're coming with us. So I think that's where we're headed. I think that's what it's looking like. And it's only that way because, and for me, the inescapable conclusion, because this comes from the commander-in-chief, is that he's not concerned about it because he knows how this election is going to roll out. And, you know, and I don't know how much he's basing himself on there. But to me, it looks like he has a certainty of that knowledge. And that's why he doesn't feel that he needs all of these things to happen before the election. That's just how I see it. Now, as far as Ray and Gina Haskell, I believe that they are in two very different positions. Ray, I believe he's always been a swamp creature. He's a Comey acolyte. He's from that whole Comey group. And I believe he's not someone who can be trusted. I believe that he's been walking the line between what the cabal tells him to do and what Trump tells him to do.
Sure. And
he's been walking that line ever since. Now, and people are bewildered by that kind of analysis because they say, well, why is Trump keeping him in that position instead of firing him? Well, the reason is because the White Hats are collecting intel. Because they keep these people in place sometimes because they're simply collecting intel on them whenever they push them, whenever they rattle their cages to see, because they are not working for you. They're not working for us.
Yeah.
Ray, I do not believe, is working for the American people.
Yeah.
He is working for the cabal. And they are telling him what he has to do and what he can let go, what he can compromise on, and what he can't compromise on. And the White Hats are collecting all that intel all the time, and it helps them. It helps them with their moves that they have to do. And the maestro is the master of using that information for his benefit. Now, Gina Haskell, I do believe, because of that dress that I saw her wearing with the white hats on it, I believe that she's actually white hat. The problem is, the CIA is a very different organization. It is so rife with globalist evil, and it is so dedicated to globalist evil that it's like trying to turn around a giant freight on the ocean and trying to turn it on a dime because it's on fire, and you have to get it to shore before it sinks. I don't think the CIA can be saved in any sense. I think eventually they will have to be eviscerated, destroyed, like JFK said, and they will have to be destroyed. And I think Gina Haskell is just there to put Band-Aids wherever she can until this ship sinks and she jumps off. That's the situation that they're in. That's what I see.
I tend to agree with you on all of it. You know, I too believe that President Trump is destined to win on November 3rd. I mean, if you just go boots on the ground, just take a look. You know, at my event the other night, I had more attendees than Joe Biden has had at all of his events since the start of the year, okay? And probably longer. You know, and then you look at the number of people that go to President Trump's rallies, and of course, there's going to be a couple of people that attend, you know, every single one. But by and large, I mean, you've got thousands of people at every single rally. And you've got many, 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 many more people who support him online and who don't openly support him. So I too think that he's destined to win. Now, your point about you know, not needing to release the information, I also agree. It's not necessary for the purposes of winning for that information to be released before the election. I think that the reason it may not be released until after the election would be specifically for the optics. If he was to put it out just to satiate us, because of course we all want it, we want to see it right now, just because we've been waiting so long and we've been promised that this was going to, you know, be the end result. If he releases it before the election, it will go down in history as as a political move. President Trump destroying the system by arresting all of his competitors. He waits until after the election, and it is the will of the Justice Department, and he didn't need to do it for any reason. He could have let them go on. So I think that there is the question of the optics there, and definitely Christopher Wray. We know that they have everything. We know that they're watching everything that happens. Every time President Trump gives him a directive, or every time there's a communication that comes down, I'm sure there is some sort of back channel or a message. He posts a classified ad in the Washington Post, and whoever it is, George Soros, gets it. So yeah, I think you're totally right on that.
Right, and if I could fine tune your analysis there and amplify it, there's another factor in this, which is a world-changing factor, which is that it appears, if you just do some investigation on the ground, it appears that the Democrats are no longer, I should say the cabal is no longer trying to win this election for, let's say, Joe Biden, if he's a real person, let's say, if he's a real candidate. Let's just pretend for
not
a moment.
Not a clone.
That he's not a clone and he's not just an empty suit projection. That he's a real candidate. They're not trying to win for him anymore.
Yeah.
They really aren't. And you could prove this to yourself just if you go on the ground, like when Hillary was running. People in the Awake and Aware community used to go around to different Hillary headquarters in different cities and just go with a camera to show that there were like one or two people in every one of her headquarters, and it was usually like people over 90 years of age and just sitting by themselves. And there was nobody. There were no people, no real people in her headquarters.
There's a bunch of cardboard cutouts.
Yeah, basically. And people proved that. Well, if you try to do that and then they would show, Trump headquarters that were just loaded with people and just amazing enthusiasm. But now, if you try to do that with Joe Biden and try to see, there actually are no headquarters on the ground in the field offices.
I've never seen one. Never seen one.
There aren't any. And as a matter of fact, there is no field coordination program to get out the vote for Joe Biden. It just they don't exist.
Yeah.
They don't exist, and they're just not there. There's no. But if you go and see, there's Trump headquarters everywhere in all the major cities. And not only that, there's no actual field operations for Joe Biden to win the election. They just don't have them. There's nobody knocking on doors.
Yeah.
In 1 week, the Trump campaign knocks on 1 million doors across the country. The Joe Biden campaign knocks on zero doors. Because they have no field operations. What that means is, number one, they're not really trying to win this. They're really not.
Yeah.
What they're trying to, and number two, what's happening to all that money, all that campaign money that Biden has? I mean, he's got a few TV commercials here and there, but it appears that most of his money is going back to BLM and to other sources for anarchy, other George Soros groups, to prepare some anarchy, possibly for Election Day, for November 3rd. Because what they're trying to do, it appears, is not win the election, but create chaos against the election so that possibly they can stop the election. They've given up on trying to beat Trump. They're not going to be able to do it. They just can't do it. They're not going to win an election against him. And they may not even be able to cheat enough to make a difference, because Hillary tried that. And it just didn't beat the margins that were against Trump because he had so much support. So I believe what they're trying to do now is they have given up on Biden winning anything. They're just trying to either stop the election or throw the election into so much chaos that President Trump can't be declared the winner.
Right.
That's what they're trying to do everywhere in the country. That's what they're working on, and that's why people have to. We have to be careful, because they're going to try to also send out intimidation groups when we have in-person polling at the polling places. In person, right now I have registered many people to vote, And we are going to be forming safety groups with people for safety when we go to the polls, various polling places across the country. That's very important because there's a very big chance that Antifa and BLM and many other groups, people don't know, there are hundreds of groups that use different names but are essentially the same as these anarchist groups. And there's many of them. And I think they're going to be mobilized. They're going to be mobilized to go out and intimidate the in-person voting, because they know that all the mail-in voting, a lot of it's going to be Democrat, at least they think. But if they can stop the in-person voting or intimidate it or do something, and all the sheriffs of all the various counties have been notified about this possibility.
Wow.
So they all know, and they're going to be preparing to protect the people. But we need to protect ourselves too, so that we can make sure that we vote in person and vote safely as well. That's
absolutely. I mean, be on the lookout for that, guys. I mean, clearly it's illegal. Voter intimidation is not legal. I mean, if somebody comes up to you at the poll and says, "Who'd you vote for?" You better vote for Joe Biden. Obviously, that's not a good person. So be prepared to report anything like that you see.
Right.
Now, the one thing I have noticed that the Democrats are doing is I probably get like 10 or 15 text messages a day from a variety of different non-governmental organizations, nonprofits and stuff like that, like the Concerned League of Voters, or, a whole bunch of different names, things I've never heard of, some things I have heard of, but not only for me, for my mom and my daughter too. They want to know who I'm voting for. They want to know, if I'm going to vote in person. And then if I say I'm going to vote in person, I always say I'm voting in person on November 3rd. And they're like, make sure you stand 6 feet away from everybody and make sure that you wear a mask. And they have these subtle intimidation tactics to make you feel that it's not safe to go and vote in person. And I always tell them that I am voting for Donald Trump too, because I don't care. Come after me. I want them to know. I want them to know.
Don't do that, Zak.
I've gotten into it a couple of times with a couple of these people, because they'll come back with retorts, President Trump's handling of the CV-19 situation is awful and the country's falling apart. And I said, Joe Biden is falling apart. I'm like, I can't believe you guys are running him. And they were a little bit shocked at that. But, it seems that I've never seen anything like this. I mean, I was expecting this year to see people going door to door. I wasn't expecting them to send me text messages all the time or call me and ask me. Somebody sent me, did you hear about in Michigan, Governor Whitmer? There was a plot to kidnap her, apparently.
Right.
It was one guy from Michigan, a bunch of guys from Ohio. Well, the ringleader of the group is an anarchist, okay? He had a YouTube channel. He's got tattoos all over his hands. He's got, gauges in his ears, and he's got an anarchist flag on his wall. He's a punk rock kid, okay? And he was the one leading this group. But they are trying to frame it as if it is some type of Republican Michigan militia. Now, obviously, going back to Timothy McVeigh and Terry Nichols and stuff. So I think they're trying to bring that back up, and they want to frame that because we've had all of this this rhetoric from the Democrats and even from Christopher Wray about white supremacist groups saying that they are the most dangerous thing for the. Hold on.
And I can tell you that the framing for that particular investigation came directly from Wray's desk. From Wray's desk, because because it's completely false, and it has nothing to do with the investigation in the field, and it backs up the nonsense that Wray was spouting the other day about right-wing groups, which was complete nonsense. It was not true at all, but that's what the cabal demands of him. He has to say that stuff. And I'll tell you another thing is that most of these and the guy's got the flag with the A on it right there, and and from my point of view, I'm thinking that A stands for Antifa. Stands for Antifa.
Sure.
I mean, that's they use similar flags to that as well.
Yeah.
So and then they start managing the narrative. Oh no, that stands for anarchy. I've never seen anarchists using the A for anarchy. That's not a thing. That's not
The only time I've ever seen it was like people like graffiti and stuff like that, or on like punk rock albums or something like that. But the thing about it was, the text message. It was like a survey. Who you going to vote for? If the election was today, who'd you vote for president? And then I think it had their senator, and then judges, and then the last question after all of these, who you going to vote for was, do you believe that the plot to kidnap Governor Gretchen Whitmer is a result of the Republican rhetoric, blah, blah, blah. And, I couldn't believe it, because it had nothing to do with anything else. But clearly, Gretchen Whitmer is looking for a way to spin this into her favor because she's got all this negative press from the Supreme Court decision that she's overstepping her powers. And somebody else sent me a message from Michigan and said that the mayor of Detroit is refusing to open up the city. They're refusing to undo that executive order that Gretchen Whitmer put into place. What kind of recourse do people have, John? I mean, how do people, if your local government, and this goes for everybody, I don't know if this is happening in other states, only people from Michigan have contacted me. But what do people in a local situation like that, what can they do? What kind of recourse do they have if their local government refuses to honor a decision from the Michigan State Supreme Court?
Yeah, the problem is that local government and local people in the state don't have treason statutes to back them up. That's the problem, because we've never contemplated local officials being basically betraying their oath and betraying the people of their jurisdiction. No one has ever contemplated that before. That's exactly why George Soros and the central bankers have got bypassed the federal officials and have gone to buy and purchase these local officials directly with their money. Mm-hmm. They have done this precisely because there is no mechanism for treason at the local level and at the state level. None that I'm aware of. I'm pretty sure there isn't. So all they have is basically the recall statutes. I mean, the recall statutes, which is kind of like a little sort of treason statute, because it just says, hey, this person hasn't fulfilled their duties. We need to recall them. We need to recall them and get rid of them as a public official. But the bar for those recall statutes are very high. They're very high.
I knew that they were taking place in California. I don't know if our California viewers are here. I believe I had heard that was happening in Michigan as well. I don't know if it's happening in any other Democrat-controlled states. But obviously that takes a lot of time. I guess I was hoping that maybe there was something that people could do, like maybe call the Department of Justice or something like that. Would the federal government step in a situation like that if enough people made enough noise?
They should, because then the federal treason statutes should be applied against these government officials.
Right.
Because those local people are still American citizens. They still have their rights as American citizens, and their constitutional rights should still be protected by federal government. Mm-hmm. There's no reason not to, but they should be done. But the problem is there's no precedent for it, because this has never happened before in American history, that local officials have been corrupted by globalists to do their bidding against their own people. It's never really happened before. So that's why it's difficult. It's really difficult. But the federal, if there is a will, they can eventually step in to enforce treason statutes against these individuals for the things that they've been doing. I mean, Governor Cuomo killed a bunch of his own citizens because the globalists ordered him to get the COVID-19 deaths up.
Yeah.
And so he took sick people and he forced them into the nursing homes to spread among the most vulnerable group, the most vulnerable people, this terrible sickness. And it worked. They died in large numbers. And yet you're not going to tell me, you're going to tell me that the federal government can't go in there and charge a sitting governor? And maybe the answer is no, they can't, but they should.
Well,
they absolutely.
I mean, there is like a current FBI and DOJ investigation into that very issue, not only in New York, but I know the same thing happened in Michigan, and I don't know where else. I don't know if it happened in California or if they just left the people in their homes because they don't have the money to run nursing homes. But, clearly in New York and Michigan, it happened to a very large degree. Have you heard anything about that investigation? Do you have any contacts that might have divulged any information?
No, not that I know of about that. However, I will tell you. I did want to tell you about the Gretchen Whitmore kidnapping.
Yeah.
Kidnapping that supposedly was going to happen. I wanted to tell you about that. That first of all, it doesn't pass any sort of snuff test because you've got this large group of there appear to be left-wing anarchists, and they definitely have nothing to do with Trump. They have statements that they despise Trump, that he's another tyrant and all that. So right away you know that they're lying about this investigation, all the way from Christopher Wray and the FBI, all the way to Whitmer as well. They're all lying about this investigation. The second thing is I wanted to advise you guys that a very popular thing to do among fake crime fighting is to have a group of idiots who are just like shiftless ne'er-do-wells, and you send in there this smart informant,
Yes.
to go in there and tell them, hey, you guys want to kidnap the governor, don't you? Yeah, and then the informant does the entire job, does the whole thing,
Right.
the whole coordination, does the whole thing, and then that informant just needs one overt act from members of the group. And it can be anything. It could be something as simple as hey, download a map of Gretchen Whitmore's home from the internet. Just download it from the internet and then print it out and hand it to me. That's it. That's all you need for an overt act. And you've got that guy right there as part of the conspiracy, you see? And so a lot of times what we find out is that these investigations are basically all done, completed, and almost executed by the informant, the FBI informant that they use. And so that's why those things have to be, especially when they prevent a terrorist act, supposedly. So people have to bear that in mind and look at those things very carefully to see if that group really was doing what they said they did. And the third item that just doesn't pass the snuff test is that this woman, this Gretchen Whitmore, how are they going to kidnap her and take her someplace and listen to her? She's like your crazy ex-girlfriend, the worst ex-girlfriend of your nightmares, just screeching in your ear. I mean, I just don't see it realistic that these guys who appear to be people of very little tolerance, we're going to take her and have her in a room somewhere yapping in their ear about how much better she is than they are. It's just,
I totally agree with you. And what you just said there about the FBI informant setting them up, that was the first thing that came to my mind. It reminded me immediately of all of those terror cases that were thwarted since 9/11. You have, people who are, mentally challenged. You have, immigrants that are pizza drivers and they put like an alarm clock in a pizza box and tell them to drive into the, it's just ridiculous. I mean, it's happened over and over and over again. Before this, the last one that I remember was some autistic kid that an informant made friends with and then persuaded to go ahead and do this. And the parents told him, they were like, you're no good. Get out of here. We don't want you hanging around our son. And he went behind their back and then set this kid up. I don't know what the conclusion to that story was. The last thing I heard, the parents were fighting it because it clearly was a situation of him being set up.
Good. Yeah, it's heartbreaking. I've spoken to some of those individuals who've been victimized by these situations, what I call greasy law enforcement, greasy, no good law enforcement.
Yes.
And it's really heartbreaking sometimes when you see the situations that they let themselves get into just by being vulnerable to these characters, these informants that get paid a lot of money. Yep. These top tier informants like the guy Christopher Steele from the Christopher Steele dossier, and another guy that you were talking about earlier. These guys are top-level informants, and they get paid millions of dollars, millions. And sometimes they get that money from several agencies at the same time, different agencies. So that's a huge, huge business. Fake information and fake informant work is huge, huge business. And
that's a shame.
Yeah,
I just have a couple of quick thank yous, and I need to do. Let's see. Avery says, check Smashing Pumpkins in Ashes video. Deep State hint. Okay, I'll go ahead and check that. Also, our good friend of the channel, Dale Bursary, says, great content once again. God bless, brother. Thank you very much, Dale. Glad you're feeling better. And then also, let's see. Road King says, for where would Flynn best fit in the Trump administration? What do you think about that, John? Where do you think that General Flynn would best fit if he came back into the administration? I mean, personally, you know, I think there's going to be an opening at the FBI very shortly. He's a little higher level than that, though, you know. So he could be primed to take over the clowns in America, too.
Oh, yes, that would be something. Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Take care of the CIA, because I want his attorney to be the next FBI director.
Oh, there you go.
Sidney Powell.
That's
Sidney
perfect.
Powell. Yeah, that's the way that should roll out. And but because we have to keep the attorney general that we have right now.
Yeah, definitely. And then Gaffer Anon says $7.77 for Whitmer's husband needs a refund. # failed kidnapping. Yeah, he's probably somewhere in the background lurking as a part of the plot there. Now, another thing. Oh, Muffin, what are you doing? So one thing that has come out, which is kind of a new thing, is that one of the people of interest in the Durham investigation is this guy, Daniel Jones. Now, he was a Senate investigator for Dianne Feinstein, and he hired Christopher Steele and Fusion GPS to disseminate the dossier. Now, I don't know any more than that. I only know that he is a Democratic operative. He worked with Feinstein directly, and he paid Christopher Steele and Fusion GPS millions of dollars. And I am assuming that's over and above what Pkwy and the DNC paid to them. And he also came up in some testimony by John Podesta a couple of years ago in regards to this whole situation. I wanted to know if you had ever heard of this guy, Daniel Jones. And I actually, let me see, I think I have a photo of him that, here we go. Yes, Daniel Jones, former Feinstein staffer, raised $50 million, and he hired Fusion GPS and Christopher Steele after the 2016 election. Okay, so here, let me...
But he's involved with the kidnapping? Is that what you're saying?
No, not the kidnapping. No, this is moving on from the kidnapping. This is going to the Durham investigation. Let me share my screen so that you can go ahead and see it as well. And there we go. Okay, so you see his face right there? This guy right here, Daniel Jones, former Feinstein staffer. So this is from, this is actually back in April of 2018. So he's kind of, I would imagine, been on the radar for a while. Now, he runs an investigative outfit called the Penn Quarter Group, and he retained the services of Fusion GPS and Christopher Steele to continue exposing Russian interference in the 2016 election. So it sounds to me like he was hired to continue the lie even after everything had kind of come out. But yeah, he worked for Feinstein. So, I mean, it just goes to show you that all of these top-level people, be they in the DNC or the Democratic leadership, I think everybody had a part to play in this, you know? I mean, they all knew that it was a lie. They knew that it was complete garbage. So, you know, where's the culpability in this? I mean, for someone like Adam Schiff, is he completely protected due to that the debate clause or whatever it is? I mean, he's in Congress, so he can lie and say whatever he wants to and lie to the American people?
Yeah, he can while he's standing in that podium in the Congress. Speech and debate clause. He can say whatever lie, whatever crazy insurrection that he wants to say, as long as he's standing in the Congress. But everything outside of the congressional halls, he can be taken down for that. But he won't be for now because I think that Trump is right now is hoping and praying for the good health of Adam Schiff and Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden just until the election, just until the election, because they are serving his purposes so very, very well, and that's going to be over once he's reelected, and then he's going to be able to move against these people. I mean, and for instance, and Schiff is barely holding it together health-wise. I mean, just barely.
Really?
And the same is true for Pelosi. I mean,
Nadler too, I'd say.
Oh, poor Nadler. Yeah, he's in terrible, terrible shape. Pelosi's having her, what do you call glitches in public. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And and I heard she was stumbling. She was stumbling apparently under the influence of something just now when she was doing the conference that was for, watch me tomorrow. I'm going to put the committee for the 25th Amendment together. And I want to tell your audience something about that.
Please, go ahead.
Which is that it appears that the only reason that I see that she could be doing that, she's putting together, for people who may not know, a conference, a committee to investigate the application of the 25th Amendment to remove a sitting president due to mental issues, due to physical issues, due to issues. Sorry,
it's okay.
I got Siri. I think it's under the control of Gretchen Whitmer. She's trying to reach me. She's a crazy ex-girlfriend. God. So I'm just kidding. She's not my ex-girlfriend.
Your wife is watching, John.
Yes. But if I had one, that would be her. So my point was, doing that is a desperation move.
Yes.
Because this is a committee that she has put together that is going to be investigate. It's going to be like a permanent committee. And it's going to have various Democrats on it, and they are going to be the ones who are going to put together all the information to remove any sitting president based on physical disability. That's the right word. Disability that's come up for him to perform his duties. Now, I believe the reason that she's doing this is because her internal polling has been coming back, and she now believes that there's the cabal now believes that there's a strong chance, very strong chance, that she is going to lose the Congress. She is going to lose the congressional seats enough that it's going to flip it back to the Republicans.
Wow.
And because internal polling is the only polling that's real. Right. All the polls that people see, the national polls and all that, that's nonsense. That's all nonsense.
Garbage.
It's easy to manipulate, easy to lean one way or the other. It's easy to oversample, undersample. So all those polls are nonsense. The only polling that really counts is the internal polling that Trump does, and then the internal polling that the Democrats do within their own party. And I think that it has been showing that Democrats are not going to support Joe Biden, and they're not going to vote for Congress members that are up for re-election on this cycle. I think, and that is why Nancy Pelosi now wants to leave behind, if she gets thrown out of office, the speakership, she wants to leave behind, or I'm saying the cabal wants to leave behind a standing committee on the 25th Amendment so that they can later try to influence the vice president and others to try to push forward a disabling of the president under the 25th Amendment in the future. That's what I think.
Okay, so you're saying after President Trump, or even for President? Because I mean, here's the thing.
Yeah, for President Trump.
Okay,
after he's reelected.
So they have to have the support of the vice president, and they'll have to have the support of the Senate. So I guess maybe she's stacking the deck, just hoping that the Democrats are going to retake the Senate. If they control both houses, obviously President Trump will be removed, just by the pressure of them and their actions. We had a couple of interesting posts in the last couple of days talking about the blackmail, levels of blackmail, in Washington, D.C. Looks like Hillary Clinton also put out a tweet saying that she wants the public to see her email. She said, I asked the State Department to release them. They said they will review them for release as soon as possible. So now they have the emails. Now they're admitting having the emails. Obviously, they've had them for a long time. It's been a big dog and pony show. But State Department, Kansas, Pompeo, he was on Fox News, and he said that they were going to do everything they could to get these emails out before the election. Now, I can't imagine that the release of Hillary's emails would be good for the Democrats going into this election cycle. Maybe she's counting on the fact that there's so gosh darn many of them that nobody's going to be able to find any gems yet. But, maybe afterwards. What do you think?
She is one of the greatest public liars that we have ever had in this in American history. I mean, starting with the Nixon Watergate committee when she was just a kid.
Oh, this is from 2015. I got punked, you guys. Sorry. Thanks. Keep going.
Oh, okay. Okay, good.
It's just relevant now because Pompeo said that they're planning on it. Okay, keep going.
Oh, because I was just going to comment on the fact that she would, even if it's not true, I definitely could see Hillary releasing a statement now that she knows the 30,000 emails are out.
Yeah.
Now I definitely see her releasing a statement that, oh, that's good because I wanted those 30,000 to be released, and as a matter of fact, I'm the reason why they're being released.
Right.
It's because of something I did.
Yeah.
And I could see that happening, just the same way that Barack Obama said that the economy got better when Trump took it over because of stuff that I did, because I left it as a great economy and it was already improving. They'll just say any lie because they know that the media is going to back them up, regardless of what lie they say.
Amplify it, and you say it enough that there's a significant portion of the population that will go ahead and
believe it.
Yeah, believe it. Well, it continues. Clinton Foundation plus Soros, journalists, director, Africa, Saudi Arabia, special access programs, China, Russia, Uranium One, Hussein DIR director, Benghazi, Muslim Brotherhood, Clowns in America, Assets, Crimes Against Humanity, Route, Huma, CC, Wiener, backup. So everything's there. Nothing is ever truly deleted. Threats, blackmail, and bribes. So that's what's in her emails. And her offer to have them released was clearly hollow. But our favorite Anon says that, don't believe everything you read on this post, which had Mike Pompeo in it. A lot of people thought at the time that it meant that, the Clinton emails are not going to be released. But then he said in the next post, wasn't referring to Kansas's statement regarding Clinton emails. So there is a possibility that maybe we'll get these Clinton emails before the election. Now, I can live with that. If we actually get a chance to see these, because obviously the public release of those and the revealing of what is in there, all of the terrible things that are in there, that certainly could lead to indictments for one thing or another. And, I've said before, we have to pick our poison on the crimes that we want them to spend their time going after. Obviously, some low-level stuff like the Democrats have been going after people in President Trump's orbit. They're going for low-level stuff because there's nothing higher level. They just want to use whatever they have, throw the book at these people, and then put them in prison. Hillary Clinton, throw a dart, at a dartboard, and you've got 150 different things on there that you can charge her with. So, Muffin, what's wrong, honey? What's going on? You got to hang out.
Yeah, but it's gonna be a lot of fun. I mean, just for entertainment purposes, to see those emails where Hillary is just like threatening people, like I will. You bastard, you better do what I just told you to do, or else I'm gonna hang you upside down from the nearest yardarm.
Yes.
And you're gonna die from blood exploding through your head. I promise you. And then I will find your children, like I'm Mike Tyson. I will find your children and eat them. That's just gonna be pure raw fun for us to read. And when we finally see those emails from Obama, now that we know what his code name was in those emails. Just to see that hilarious email that just says, now listen, bitch. Listen. You better cut it out. You better cut it out. Cut it out right now. Because I don't want this coming back on me. All right.
Yep.
And I definitely know that email is going to be in there, several forms.
Absolutely.
Because he had a hard time controlling her corruption. And I'm sure that at times it just got out of hand. And I'm sure that, he put forward some efforts to try to get her to stop doing some of the stuff that she did. I mean, she took all the secret information of our nation, our national security structure, and she basically put it on an open server for the Chinese and the Russians to just come and get whatever they wanted. And she did that. Yeah, exactly. And she, like an open buffet for them, protected with the word password. and that's an obvious, everyone in the national security structure knew about it. Mm-hmm. We all knew that she was doing this. And it became obvious what she was doing after it was all revealed. What was never obvious was, why wasn't she prosecuted? Mm-hmm. And now we know why. It's because the entire cabal activated all their assets to protect her. Because once we get to the bottom of that, it's gonna go right back to the renegade, back to Obama himself, and then it's going to go to Obama's bosses, who are telling him what to do, which is Soros and the central bankers of the cabal, who were telling him, and that's something that cannot be tolerated. That's why this has been covered up for so long. Not because of Hillary. Nobody gives a crap about Hillary, but it's because of those connections, because they sacrifice their own all the time.
Yeah.
But they cannot tolerate all this leading back to Obama and then leading back to Obama's bosses, the people he was really working for.
The overlords.
Exactly.
Yeah. I've got a couple of quick thank yous on PayPal. Let's see. Penny said, "You are my go-to." Thank you, Zach. Hope this helps on the 15th. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Donating for help with the MAGA Meetup 2 that we're having on the 15th. Let's see. Wayne says, "Hey, Zach, hopefully all is well with you. I have slowly turned my whole family onto your show in the last couple of months. My son, Buddy, turned 17 at midnight. Would you mind giving him a shout-out for his birthday? God bless you. Thank you, Wayne." Wayne, I would be happy to. Buddy, if you are watching, thank you so much for tuning into the channel. Thanks for watching with your dad. This is one of the reasons why I try to make it family-friendly entertainment, so you can all huddle around the computer or the TV, whatever you've got, and watch with us. So happy birthday, Buddy. Happy 17th. Man, I remember 17 was a good year for me. It was the end of high school. I got a little bit of freedom. I finally got my own car. It was an old 1985 Chevy van, but I made the most of it. It was a lot of fun. Happy birthday, and thanks for being here. Let me also say thank you to Lawrence, and thank you to Buddy. I think that's a different Buddy. It doesn't look like he's a 17-year-old, but thanks, Buddy. I appreciate it. Also, Gino on Cash App. Let's see. Gino says, "Looking forward to the MAGA meetup." Good show, bro. Awesome, man. I hope you're going to be there in person. If you guys can't be there in person, obviously, yeah, you can watch the stream live here on the channel. And then also, Shelly says, "Great show with John DeSouza." So thank you, guys. I appreciate you both. John, we're going to open up the phones now, you guys. I've dropped the link into the chat. Let me drop it one more time. We've got 5 people on the line. And then also, of course, you've got this right here. Now, if you guys do want to support the channel, clearly we've got the paypal.me link and then the Cash App code on the screen. If you don't know how to use paypal.me, you can just go into your PayPal and send it to redpill78@protonmail.com. I know that's easier for some people, but just wanted to let you know. Let's go ahead and bring in, I don't know who KC is. We're going to bring in KC because I don't know if they've ever called in before. See what they're doing. And let me do a quick check on how many people we've got here. We've got 4,300 people here, 1,885 likes. You guys, please help us out. Drop a like, and if you can, if you haven't yet, go ahead and send it out on your favorite social media platform. I'll tell you what, guys, I am feeling it on the channel after Facebook deleted all of the groups related to our favorite Anon. 30% of my video traffic used to be directed from Facebook because people would share my videos in their groups and, private messages and stuff. Anything related to this stuff is now blocked. They've deleted so much stuff, and I get like 0 traffic coming from Facebook. As much as I despise Facebook, I appreciated the viewers that would share them. But KC, you're on the line. How are you tonight?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, buddy. Yeah, what's going on?
Okay, so I had some like quick comments. The first one was in reference to what John said about like the local politicians. Like I remember when during the lockdowns, they that's how they were trying to like from what I've seen, that's how they were trying to force the whole agenda of what was going to happen after the lockdowns, as far as like the virus and the their treatment of it. Because I saw like over the weeks I saw articles about all these different states and these secret meetings voting on mandates and stuff. So that I like I kind that kind of related to me as far as that.
Go ahead, John. You
Hello?
got any comments?
Yeah, local officials, and I want people to know that you can actually research this. George Soros and the central bankers have done this in other countries. They learned this system in other countries, in Yugoslavia and all around the world, where they have done this before. They go in and they corrupt not the federal officials, but the local officials on the ground. They pour in money, and then get ready to do a revolution in that country. And they have all the support from the local level for that revolution that's being installed from the top. And it's been done, and it's been successful. It's been successful in many, many other countries, and they are trying to do the same thing here. You see, and that's so that it's counterintuitive, because you would think that they should go in and like corrupt the army and the generals of the leaders. Well, no, that's the way it used to be done long ago. Now it's the local officials, and then they impose from the top the revolution, and it's supported at the bottom levels from society. So that's what's going on, and it's going on in every area. That's why I hope that this money will be traced back. The money that's being used to support BLM and Antifa and all the many hundreds of other groups across the country that are working insurrection against our nation. And then hopefully we'll have some fly teams go do some extraditions, do some renditions of some overlords in other countries and bring them back here to stand trial.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is
that
the purple revolution. We're in the midst of that color revolution here in the United States. I mean,
that
unironically, everybody who was involved in all of these various other revolutions in other countries have been deeply and publicly involved in what's been trying to be accomplished here in the United States, this very open coup against President Trump. But KC, continue.
Yeah, the other comment I had was kind of referring back to that too. Like during the lockdown, I saw a lot of people, like, because the stock market was going down and all this other stuff was happening with as far as like the virus and the treatment that they were proposing for it. And I've seen and heard a lot of people saying, "Oh, that they're not gonna go along with it. Like they're just gonna live like they're just gonna live on the outside. Like they're." And I'm like, that seems that seems realistic if you live in like one of these dystopian movies, but you're not gonna you're not just gonna say no and they're gonna let you live your life uh outside of their agenda. That was something I didn't get. There's still people that think that if something happens with the stock market or as far as the virus, that they're just gonna go and live their life outside of society and they're gonna be left alone. Like that makes no it made no sense to me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Casey, let me ask you, does the government have the power to order you to commit suicide?
Not that I know of.
Yeah. But isn't that exactly what they're doing? Ordering us to commit economic suicide at one level, and then at another level, ordering us to commit physical suicide very slowly with these masks that actually go over our faces and create a toxic situation for our breathing, where we're breathing in our own carbon dioxide and other toxic substances, and we are slowly killing ourselves. That's what I see very, very clearly.
Absolutely. KC, I appreciate your call, buddy.
Okay.
Thanks, man.
One last thing.
Okay.
So I don't want to go over too much, but as like I follow a lot of like art accounts on different social medias, and they're like you could see the like they're kind of liberal anyway. Like a lot of artists are kind of liberal anyway, but you could see the influence that the media has had because they're pushing when the whole like postal service thing, they were pushing that narrative to be, and some of these people have large followings, but they were pushing the whole narrative of the postal service was interfering with the elections, and there's some people even pushing that. One guy I follow regularly, he was pushing the idea that the whole mailing voting thing is a scam, and it's going to come out. It's eventually going to come out as a scam, that nobody should believe it. And like these people are giving all these corrupt people like free propaganda.
Yeah, I mean, they essentially are. I mean, the cabal realizes that there is waning power in the mainstream media, and that these influencers that they control, be it on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, wherever it is, they know that they have a significant level of influence. And so they run these propaganda stories through them because, frankly, they're going to reach more people, and they're going to reach the younger generation faster than they would any other way. Well, Casey, thanks for your call, bud. We're going to move on to the next caller.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, man. Take it easy. All right. Excellent. Thanks, guys. Let's go to the next caller. Let's see. We're going to try to take one of these calls right here. And caller, you're on the air. Can we get a name for the audience?
Fred from New Hampshire.
I'm sorry, what was the first name?
Fred from New
Fred.
Hampshire.
Oh, Fred. Welcome back, man. It's been a while.
Yeah, I've been super busy.
I understand, man. I
But
understand.
I've been keeping track of you, buddy.
Good, good. Well, what's your question or comment for John?
Actually, I had more for you. I love John. I've always loved his videos, and I love him as a guest.
Thank you.
I just barely bumped in here, and I was actually wrote down two things I wanted to write out to you real quick.
Okay.
Number one, the debate, how it got canceled.
Mm-hmm.
And you had your Red Pill Live that you were going to do, if I'm correct, this week,
Yep.
right?
That's correct, on the 15th. We're still doing it, yeah.
And, that's one reason why I feel that POTUS is doing the rally, because he knows how involved people like yourself and other patriots are as far as watching the debates and stuff. And he did not want to let the patriots down.
Yeah. I tend to agree with you
where
there.
we go one, we go all.
There you go.
That's right.
Just to let you know, and it's not just you, it's all of us, but
Yeah.
we love you too, The second thing I wanted to say is the deep state, they have this planned right out, 25 days, and we all knew they were going to do a swap or put someone else in. So this is kind of a two-part question. One is when they did the 25th amendment, they were looking to get rid of Biden, supposedly.
Okay.
And make it so that Kamala Harris moves up. But most of the population will still think it's Biden or Harris because they're too busy working and they're not following up on it like you are or everybody else is. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand what you mean.
They're still going to be thinking they're voting for Biden.
Okay, all right. Well, I mean, in this case, 25th Amendment, John, correct me if I'm wrong. That only applies to the president. So it would be applicable if Joe Biden was to win. Then they could just go ahead and remove him. I don't know that they would have to. I feel like Biden's weak enough that all they have to do is ask him to step aside and let Kamala take the reins, and he'd probably do it. But, is there some way to do this?
And that brings me to my second point.
Okay.
Or my second question. If Biden steps aside and Harris becomes president, who would you think she would pick as vice president?
I don't know, Hillary Clinton, maybe?
What a terrible
My
thing to
guess is-
contemplate. Oh my goodness.
My guess is Michael.
Oh, Michael Obama. Yes, yes, yes.
Oh,
Very well could be. Very well could be. What do you think, John? Do you think that's a good bet?
I think that's something I don't want to even think about. I don't think that's a very horrible picture of Kamala.
No, but I mean, or the third possibility, would Pelosi just get her out of there and take over the presidency?
Yeah, Pelosi could just plan an Irish car bomb or something like that, and then she would be the next in line. That's if she's reelected. If she's reelected.
That's right.
Yeah.
When's her due date?
I mean, isn't she up? I mean, she's going to be part of this crew here on November 3rd. So we could. I mean, what is it? Not Deanna. Is Deanna Lorraine the candidate, or did she? I think somebody else actually won the primary against her back earlier this year. I don't know for certain. I'd have to look it up. But yeah, I mean, if maybe Nancy Pelosi's there, maybe she's not. Hopefully, we get rid of her and we have somebody else in that seat. That would be the best. All right,
Exactly.
well, Frank, thanks for your call, buddy. I appreciate it.
All right, buddy.
All right,
Have a good one.
You too. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks for calling in. All right,
Bye.
awesome. Good stuff. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and we'll take Dale Versier, and see how he's doing. All right, Dale's microphone is getting connected. And while we're waiting on that, just let me check and see if anybody had any other questions. And let's see, Darlene just sent a donation. So thank you very much, Darlene. Appreciate that. No question there. Dale, his microphone is still not connected. All right, guys, we've got 4,187 people, 2,294 likes. Please consider smashing that like button. We can go ahead and raise that count even more. Let's see. Also, one of the other stories that I had to talk about was, did you hear or see this video that it was a Joe Biden video, and it was produced, translated, and released by an agency of the United States government. I want to say that it was I can't find the name here, but Voice of America. Voice of
can
America.
You hear me now?
Yes. Hey, Dale, you're here, bud. What's going on?
Oh yeah, I had to figure this stupid phone out. How's it going there, Zach?
Excellent. Thank you so much for calling. What's your question or your comment for John?
Well, before that, I just want to say thank you to folks in the chat. I know some of the same people follow you that. As well as Space Shot.
Yes.
Reached out to him the other day, sent him a DM, referenced my family's illness. Much prayers came in. I appreciate it. So those of you in the chat, thank you very much.
Awesome. I'm glad you're okay, dude.
Yeah, it was rough for a while, but getting better. So I just wanted to say, hey, John, I've seen you before. I appreciate your work and your insight.
Thanks.
I don't know about you, but I see all of the various angles of everything involving Spygate and the pedo and all the other stuff, and I just see it coming to a head. And I was just wondering, how do you see things happening? Because in my opinion, I think something big is going to pop before the election.
Before the election.
Yeah.
I don't see it that way. I see all the big pops coming after the election. That's what it looks like to me. I just think that's the way it looks, because I think that the president is pretty certain of the outcome. He doesn't want to say that, and we shouldn't even say that, because we want people to go out and vote, and we want to. But I think he knows what the outcome is, and that's why all these pops are gonna happen after the election.
I guess the reason why I was thinking is, although I have great patience, there's many in the movement that I'm sensing are a little bit on edge, and they've been waiting so many years to see if something happens. And that's why I think at least something probably should occur before. Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, I think Red Pill kind of sees it the same way, though. I mean,
yeah, there's a lot of restlessness, definitely.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, I mean, I don't know if you were here at the very beginning, Dale, but we talked about this a little bit, and John was mentioning that he thinks the president knows he's going to win. I truly do believe the president's going to win. Obviously, I don't want anybody to use that as an excuse to not get out and vote. He can only win if we all exercise our constitutional right to elect him as the next president of the United States, continue his legacy as president of the United States. But if he knows that he's going to win, because, you know, it's pretty clear from all of the support that we see on the ground, all the work they've been doing. I think he just stopped running campaign ads in a couple of battleground states like Ohio and Iowa, something like that, because he doesn't need them anymore. He's so far ahead from their own internal polling. They know that they need to put the money into other states that they need to continue to gain ground in. And if he does allow for the release of the Durham indictments and information before the election, he'll be derided as doing it for purely political reasons, not for the reason that these people committed crimes that need to be indicted. If it happens after the election, there's no political motivation. It's only because they committed crimes. But the only reason that he would do it before the election would be to satiate people like us who are desperately needing this kind of thing. I think we're going to have more than Kevin Kleinsmith before the election. I'm getting to the feeling now that we're not going to have a full unveiling of all 200,000+ indictments that we see out there. But I think that that doesn't mean that there won't be some other type of October surprise that might be coming out. I think we should definitely be on the lookout for some big event, but maybe not the main event, because, I mean, look at it this way. All of the ammunition has not been spent in terms of what's in President Trump and the Patriots' corner. But the Democrats, the cabal, they've already shot the moon, you know? I mean, they've got nothing else to throw it in.
Friendly.
Yes, I know. Shot the moon. They've brought every woman out of the closet that they can possibly find. Every tactic that they've had. The 25th Amendment, that's it, and that's a non-starter. That's not going to do anything. Because as it stands right now, we have the Senate. It has to go through the Senate, and I believe Mike Pence won't, bite the hand that feeds him, and not anything else. I don't know. I don't know that Mike Pence is a good guy. A lot of people are very on the fence about it, very passionate about it, but it looks to me like Mike Pence is doing what he's supposed to do right now. But I think that tactically, it is not necessary, because I do believe that the work's been done by Durham. I think that all the evidence is in. I think these people are going to get indicted. But if he waits just, till November 4th, he's president again, and the game's over. I don't know. But if it happens before the election, man, nobody's going to be happier than me.
We'll definitely have to keep the popcorn ready.
Definitely.
Hey, John, thanks again for what you do. I'm not going to tie you up anymore, Zach.
Thanks, Dale.
Hey, dude, I love you. No Cuomo.
Love you too, brother.
Hey, love to Methods next time you talk to him too, and I always listen to you. So awesome. You guys have a great night, and God bless.
God bless you as well, man. Take it easy.
Thanks,
Stay
Dale.
healthy.
Trying.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. And Simone has entered the room.
I'm gonna have a cat got in the window here.
I'm gonna have to grab her. ZooQ on Cash App. Thank you so much, buddy. Appreciate that. He says a little help for the MAGA meetup. All right, let's go to. We'll try Chris Hawkins, because Chris tried to call in on the last show and he was unable to get through. So let me get Simone. Come here, honey. Okay. All right.
I lost you.
No. I turned the camera off so that I could bend down and get Simone.
There we go.
Yeah, she wants my shoulder. She's only satisfied once she's up on the shoulder. And of course, Chi-Chi is under the desk. He's yeah. All right. Chris Hawkins, his microphone is not coming in, so we're gonna bring in the next caller and try to see if we can. Oh, here comes Chris. Chris is coming in. Chris, we just need your microphone, buddy. Aaron, we'll go to you just after Chris, okay? Actually, it looks like we've got your microphone first, so go ahead and unmute, and Chris will go to you after Aaron. Go ahead, Aaron.
I'm here.
Hey, John. Hey, Red. How you doing?
Hey, what's going on, bud?
Hey, how are you?
Hey, doing really good. Yeah, I think the emails from Hillary are like going to be awesome. Now they're going to probably pick a couple out with recipes and say that's all there is. But we'll be digging. We know the code words. We know what all these words really mean. So I think there's going to be a lot there. But the mainstream media is going to focus on the walking the dog video or posts or whatever. But I think it's going to be a treasure trove, and it's not a little thing. I think it's a huge thing.
Yeah, I mean, officially there's something like 33,000 emails, right? But I think it makes a lot of sense that, 33,000 is just the public number. So there's got to be far more than that. Everything that she ever sent. And, it's the information in there is going to be incredibly damning, as soon as it's released, you guys will have a live read listening party here on the channel. And you guys can help me go through them. Let me know if you find some spicy bits, and we'll go ahead and put them out there. But, John, what do you think? Do you think that it is 33,000, or do you think that it's far more?
I think it's probably 33,000, probably a lot more as well. But what's going to be great is when the 4chan investigators get a hold of them and load them into those databases where it's going to be searchable, where we can search words and search word strings, and we're going to be able to find, like I said, we're going to be able to find some hilarious emails. From Obama yelling at her, and and her yelling and threatening other people, threatening to murder them, and things like that. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be really great.
Most definitely. All right, Aaron, you have another question?
I think it's going to be, if it's more, it's probably going to be 6,000 or 66,666.
Exactly.
That's a good bet. That's a good bet.
That's good.
Also, John, have you ever seen the movie Capturing the Light, the Dorothy Izat story?
I have not.
Yeah. It's incredible. She's been visited since 1974. She's got 30,000 feet of footage.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I actually interviewed Frank Longo, the movie maker, that he won an award for this, but he focused mainly on a photographic element of her films, her home movie films, where 1 of 16 frames per second would have these incredible light trails, and the rest would just be a couple dots of the ship she was filming. But she's also got film of the aliens' hands on the controls inside the ship. And in her book, the book that Peter Catilla wrote, she's filming at this, she's recounting this story. She's at this fairground, and this ship comes really low, and she can see in the in a window area where she can see through, and they're waving at her, the aliens, and she's filming them. When she got the film back, it showed her filming herself, so she was caught in some kind of time dilation.
Wow.
That's very interesting. Aaron, would you send me the information on that so I can look into that?
Yeah, actually, I'm just putting a show together with some information on it.
Sweet.
So, yeah, I'll send you the show.
All right, please. I would love to see it.
It's capturing the light, and she's been collecting this information since the 70s, all this footage. Her own kids, except her daughter, because her daughter saw one too, but her whole family was watching when they showed what the camera people found was a UFO in the background when they were filming, and the whole family was freaking out.
Wow.
So, it's a great movie. It's,
very cool, dude. Well, I look forward to seeing it for sure.
And I'm going to be on Thomas in a couple of days.
Oh, cool. Good. I told him he should have you on for sure.
He did. He's a great guy. And you guys do such an awesome job. And for every person that calls in, there's hundreds or thousands of others who never call in, but really appreciate you guys.
Awesome,
and
dude.
I've talked to a number of them. So,
well, I appreciate that.
Thank you for your service, sir.
Thanks.
Thank you, Aaron. Have a great night, brother.
All right. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye. All right, moving on to Chris Hawkins. Chris, what's going on tonight, brother?
Hey, not much, man. Just chilling out. How are you doing?
Excellent. Can't complain. Getting down to the wire here. It's getting a little tense.
We are.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And hey, single ladies, John DeSouza is single. Send him an email.
All the single ladies.
So are you at the airport? I think I see lights taking off on top of you there.
No, I'm just walking around. Yeah, no, it's good. I actually had like something kind of really serious to bring to people's attention, and I know we all think about this, but you know, these Antifa people and these Black Lives Matter people, they're the ones that are going to be really damaged, you know, because they're going to find out that they supported the wrong side, and they pulled off a bunch of violent crap, and some of these people are in their 30s, 40s, I don't know what, but they're people we are going to need to rescue. You know, because we are America, we are all Americans. And, you know, really what's happening here is happening all around the world. And, you know, these people that are doing this stuff, they're the ones that we need to talk to. So,
I totally agree with you. You know, I mean, we've often said this on the channel. I mean, we have to be there as ambassadors for these people because they are Americans. But also be prepared for the fact that some of them are going to be so brainwashed, no matter what evidence they see, they will never change their mind. You know, I mean, they're gonna go to the grave believing that, you know, they've always been on the right side. And unfortunately, that's just the way that it is. Hopefully, they can learn to live in this new world. I was going to say brave new world, but that's dystopian in and of itself. So hopefully they'll be able to deal with it, and they'll see from, you know, the actions that take place over the next couple of years that the country and the world will be in a better place.
You know, I absolutely agree with that. With how much, you know, when I've been thinking about, like, you know, I remember growing up in the late 70s, early 80s, and America was beautiful. And then towards the 90s, it really started to go downhill. And, you know, what's going to happen, I believe, is, you know, it's not like it's going to be peaches and ice cream. Mm-hmm. But, you know, a bunch of our money was robbed from us and used for nefarious reasons. A lot of that is going to come back, I believe. And, you know, so we're not going to be rich, but it's not like we're going to have to slave and feel like we're battling evil at the same time. It's going to be a lot better. So I don't know. I hope that will help.
Nasara Gasara, brother. Nasara Gasara.
Yes.
Hopefully, that's definitely something people are tracking on a daily basis. All right. Well, Chris, thanks for your call, brother. I appreciate you.
All right. Yeah. Hey, Father God, bless us with your presence. Bring us your Holy Spirit. Let us help us show each other love every day. Amen.
Amen. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, man. Have a good night.
You too.
Peace. Look at Simone here. She's just staring at me. Oh man. Okay.
Why couldn't you just be a dog person?
You know, I love all animals, you know, so it's equal opportunity. All right, so we've got, I believe this is, is it Megan? Megan, we need to get your microphone on, and then, or is it Megan? Is it Megan or Megan? Or is it just a pun?
Megan.
Megan, okay. Well, Megan, thank you for calling, and what's on your mind tonight?
Oh, there's quite a bit. Here, let me shut that. Yep. Oh, well, quite a bit. I've actually been talking to a few people that are on, I guess you'd say, the left. And what I find overall, I think our country is lacking is communication classes. And I take this from the perspective that we learn to read, we learn to write, we learn to form those into sentences and arguments, but we don't learn the communication that is required of listening. Maybe you say something and I receive it the wrong way, my body language, all of that stuff. It doesn't get taught at like a middle school level, which I think is the prime time that it should be introduced. So that's one thing I think we're failing. And I tried bringing that up once to a superintendent, and he says, his response was, well, how did you learn? I says, well, I did take communication class in college, but not everybody has that luxury to go to college. And he goes, well, if you don't, you just learn it the hard way. Like that was the answer, to just learn communication through chaos of miscommunication. And I just think that's a superintendent's answer.
You're totally right. Communication is sorely lacking in this country. Civil discourse is almost completely non-existent. And, we've got a problem with people being resistant to actually listening and hearing out people on either side. That's one of the big things I've stressed on this channel all the time, making sure that, we're able to have a conversation. I don't care if you don't have the same views as me, but I would like to have a conversation with you about it. John?
Yeah, I always recommend to people a book called What Everyone is Saying, an FBI agent's guide to body language. It is a book by he was a globally recognized expert on body language, Joe Navarro, FBI agent Joe Navarro. And it's a tremendous book, complete with diagrams, and it's the ultimate authority on what different body language means. And it's an amazing book, and it should be part of everyone's syllabus to understand what people are saying. It's the book's name is What Everyone is Saying. That's subtitle, An FBI Agent's Guide to Body Language. And it's Joe Navarro. Joe Navarro. Great book.
Well, and the other point is I'm doing a travel job, and I'm staying with my cousin who's a straight Biden supporter and everything. But I find that there's common grounds. Besides, one thing is I'm a vet, so I understand a little bit of military aspects. And one of the things that I thought was interesting that they do is they desensitize us from recognizing you as a human. Mm-hmm. You are a Trump supporter, that you are a Biden supporter, or you're or however, so that it's not as meaningful if I take your life or if I hurt you. And so I try to get past that, and I say, okay, well, you're a human. How do you feel about late-term abortion? If you can be able to abort a child when they're at the point of that they can be born and live on their own, is that really late-term abortion? Isn't that considered murder?
Infanticide.
And you try to get that common ground of understanding. Well, this party is more thinking that it's your body, your choice, and they don't have any foundation. Unfortunately, whether people like it or not, our country is based on Christian foundation, and we make exceptions and we veer from that as necessary, given case by case base. But it's based on Christianity. And what I feel this radical left is trying to do is to wipe that away and have their foundation on do whatever you want, whatever seems right.
Yeah.
And that's scary.
It is. I mean, they're trying to wipe God out of the equation. And, humanists, would you call them? I mean, their idea of science is more their God. So whatever an authority in whatever a given discipline is, that's where they go for the ultimate decision-making. And if you've got governors, Ralph Northam and doctors who are saying like, oh, it's okay. It's not a baby yet because we didn't give it a birth certificate. But, it's a living, breathing human form inside that woman or whether it's outside of her body. Either way, it's a person. And, yes, it is murder.
Evil bastard.
Yes.
Yeah.
And my last thing I want to touch on, because I want to give other people a chance to call in. I think what would be great is if we would start interviewing or having discussions with immigrants that come from communism countries, and let us know, what do you think about the way this is going? Does this trigger any feelings? I was talking to one friend of mine, and I think she's a little on the fence, and I mentioned to her, did the Jews know? I wonder what it was like the day before they started gathering them up and putting them in places. Like, did they know? And she says, well, I think it's just kind of slowly occurred that way.
Yeah.
That, is there any thoughts to what's going on?
No,
and then wanting to postpone the election them wanting to postpone the trials for everything because they think it's going to interfere with the election. My first thought was, oh, karma, right? Were you guys saying, oh, this is karma? Trump got the virus when he was being careless? Well, this is karma. You guys are being careless with people. Same thing with our governor in Michigan. She was being careless with how she was treating people, and this backlash of this attempt of whatever, even if it was entrapment or what, we don't know the details, if they were coaxed into trying to commit this conspiracy or this attempt to kidnap her, or if it was indeed these people on their own accord without any type of tempting or coaxing along the way. You lock up an animal and you take away their basic rights, they're going to react. And if we would look into communication, human behavior, and look at we are not educated enough is my main point. I just don't think there's so much information that's getting out there that we're getting lost at all. And it's just desensitizing what's a priority for us to focus on and look at the way people are responding. This says more than what is being said right now.
I think you're absolutely right. They want to inundate us with information so we cannot focus on any one thing at any given time. We can't look at anything critically. We can't research it. We're constantly moving on to that next carrot, the next thing they're putting in front of our faces. Megan, we've only got 10 minutes left, so I appreciate your call and thank you for your service.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a great night.
Sure.
All right. Awesome. Good call. Okay. Let's see. Oh, go ahead. Okay, that's going to have to drop out on its own. Andrew James coming up next. That's not a name I often have seen in the call list. Let's see. Why is that not removing? Oh, okay. Andrew James, driving. Pull that car over, dude. What's going on? How are you?
I pull over now, yeah. I'm
Okay.
doing really well. Just driving back from next year. We just had some laser tag, had some old school fun, having a good time. Is John still there?
Yes, he is.
We're right here,
go
man.
ahead.
Fantastic. I would love to ask his opinion on the whole, I guess, solar flash, sun mass coronal ejection, that kind of sun activity. Does he get much info about that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, isn't there supposed to be like a major solar flare coming up? I mean, obviously this is, you look back at history, we had that Carrington event where, we lost power pretty much everywhere on the planet for a little bit. Now it's a much different situation because these transformers would all explode. They don't have like a stockpile of them, so it would take a couple of years to have them replaced. And then, it's a big problem. It would be a big problem, and we need to protect our energy grid. But John, have you gotten any information about this stuff or heard much about it?
No, and I don't believe in any of the solar flash stuff or or any other world cataclysms that people like to say are coming up. I just don't ascribe to any of that. I don't think it's real.
All right. Well, hey, man, that makes me feel a little bit better. I hope you do, Andrew. What's your next question?
Yeah. So, like John, you got like so much fascinating information. Like you talked about things like, I guess, supernatural powers within people. Yeah, things like werewolves.
Yes.
How did they actually end up like covering up most of this stuff? Did they had to pay people off? They just, I don't know.
No, they don't. Like I say in my book, Para Investigator. Since everybody else is shilling, let me bring this forward. Like I said in my book, the Para Investigators, we had the book starts off with dealing with 9/11 and the children of the Indigo children that we encountered, who all had supernatural experiences of what was going to happen on 9/11 before it happened, and just in weeks and days just before it happened. And those kids were all investigated by the federal government and by police agencies that were working together in task forces. And we had to talk to them, we had to interview them, and we found out in every case that their abilities were real. They were genuine. They were absolutely true and correct. And yet, all we had to do was just our higher ups, let's say. They just had to leave it alone, let it go, and that information just went nowhere. Went nowhere. It was not going to be reported in the mainstream news. It was not going to happen. So that it was covered up, but just by lethargy, just by not saying anything about it or taking it anywhere.
So just lack of action, no direct
Exactly.
actions to cover up. Okay.
Exactly.
All right, Andrew, we're going to go to the next caller, buddy, because we've got 6 minutes left and a bunch of callers left. So thank you for your call, man. I appreciate it. Be safe.
Yeah.
We'll talk to you soon. Okay, awesome. Let's go to, Dr. Quigley. Propaganda Wars. This is a great channel, you guys. He's an excellent researcher. I highly suggest that you subscribe to Dr. Quigley, Propaganda Wars on YouTube. He's also got a Twitter account. You can follow him and his work and his research there. Dr. Quigley, we're just waiting for you to connect to your audio. I need to say thank you to Connie. She says, love you guys. Thank you both for everything. Thank you very much, Connie. I appreciate that. Appreciate the support. Also, somebody in the chat said that they didn't want to donate money. They wanted to donate vape juice. And I will gladly accept vape juice at the MAGA meetup, or my address is always in the description of the video. Melissa says, John, your energy is so warm and joyful, a bright light for the Great Awakening. Zach, same goes for you. Thank you very much. I am speaking out for Dr. Shiva, who has exposed frightening election fraud in the Massachusetts primary. Twitter just locked him out for a second time. All recent videos on his YouTube channel explain violation of federal law and more. Massachusetts residents, please write in Dr. Shiva for Senate. 2 U.S. Senate seats have been won with a write-in. Strom Thurmond in 1954. Wow. And Lisa Murkowski in 2010. I did not know that. Let's make Dr. Shiva number 3. Dr. Shiva's been on the show before. You guys definitely check that out, and I would not doubt it. Massachusetts is dirty. Dr. Quigley, you're on the air. What's going on, bud?
Hey, what's up, Red Pill? Sorry for the weird jump into your stuff tonight. I was actually I just moved.
Oh,
and
okay.
I was setting up my whole workstation here, and I had a few beers, and I was setting up my audio, and I was messing around listening to your channel, and accidentally called into your show. Yeah, that's right. So in the meantime, I apologize for doing that, but I do agree with your guest that the whole solar flare thing is kind of just like a really kind of out there idea. I haven't really looked into it a lot, but please, I apologize for jumping in. I don't really have a whole lot to discuss tonight, but thanks for the props, and I'll keep listening to the show, and hopefully I'll call in next time with some actual exciting conversation.
All right, not a problem. We'll be back tomorrow at 9 o'clock, okay?
All right, guys. Thanks a lot.
All right, bud. Good luck. We'll talk to you soon. All right, our next caller is on the line. Go ahead and unmute, caller, and let's get your name for the audience. Asking you to unmute your line. And, oh gosh, I hope that maybe the caller doesn't know how to unmute. All right, we'll take the next caller down there. Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead and mute your stream so we don't hear ourselves.
Yeah, I'm taking the volume down.
Okay. Can we get your name for the audience?
Yeah, it's David. How are you?
David, thank you for calling, sir. I'm good. What's on your mind tonight?
That whole kidnapping thing.
Yes.
I actually got onto your show later, so I have 2 questions. First of all, his last name is DeSouza. Is he related to Dinesh?
No, he's a good friend of mine, but I am not related to Dinesh D'Souza, the great historian who is hopefully going to be on this show soon.
Yes,
he was on a show last night. I was really surprised. It was that show. Oh God, the guy who does the thing with Mark Taylor, Chris McDonald, I think.
Man, I
was really surprised.
Yeah, I mean, I've spoken with Dinesh a couple of times, and we were trying to get scheduled, but it hasn't happened yet. I'm going to try a little bit harder now that I know he was on Chris McDonald's.
Oh, he was awesome. I was just blown away that he was on that show. Not that that's a bad show or anything, but that's kind of a high contact to have on one of these YouTube stations. But you get good guests too. So
thank you.
So what I wanted to ask was this whole kidnapping thing. I think it was staged. Aren't they trying to say that it was like Trump supporters doing this?
Yes, they're trying to frame it as caused by Republican rhetoric, but they're clearly anarchists.
Oh, I think that's so fake. That woman is such a criminal.
Yeah.
I mean, and as far as
I tend to agree. I tend to agree with him. It's fishy, like from top to bottom. It really is.
Because I mean, if it's in mainstream media, it's fake.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they literally don't report anything truthful.
No, they truly don't.
We have to go to stations like you, and I like X22.
Yes.
And the other one I watch is We Know.
Yes, yeah, both good friends of the channel. X22 is going to be on Sunday, actually.
Oh, cool.
Wow.
Yep.
The funny thing is LT never seen the guy. Like, he's never shown his face. Has anyone ever met him?
Well, no, he doesn't show his face. Yeah, he's still a private person in real life. So I don't know that he's going to anytime soon.
Santa surfing, the same thing with her. Do you guys?
She's good.
No, I believe she is going to remain anonymous as well.
Because a lot of people are like, "Oh, the ones that don't show themselves, you got to beware of." But
no,
I haven't seen any.
I don't think that's true at all. I mean, when I first started, I didn't show my face because I didn't want people, in my real life to know that I was doing these videos. I live in a very Democrat area, and there are members of Antifa that live not too far from me. So I mean, I would be prime candidate, to get taken out on the street if the right people found out. But I just realized that I could be more effective and I could do more creative things if I went ahead and showed my face. So yeah, I definitely don't put any weight into that.
I guess I've been watching you for about 2 years now. But the first time I tuned in, I was like, "Oh my God, my son's on a what? You look exactly like my son." It's
Dad.
Crazy.
That's great. That's great.
Exactly.
All
now,
right.
if I showed you to him, he'd be like, "I don't look like him at all." But you look like him a lot.
Oh,
crazy.
Man.
So, what was the other? I had one other. Oh, those solar flares thing. Is that something Q has mentioned or no?
No, not at all. No, never come up. Never come up.
Never.
So I don't believe that. Then I think that's like just the same kind of crap. What the thing they were talking about, Nibiru or something?
Yeah.
Was gonna collide with Earth and.
Yeah. Well, fear sells. Fear sells a lot. That's why people come up with these catastrophes and try to sell them, and it gets them a lot of views, a lot of admission tickets. So that's why they use it. That's it.
All right.
I was at Rite Aid right before I came here, and I talked to just total strangers, and they weren't wearing masks, and I said, I'm not going in here with a mask. I'm done with masks. And so they started talking and telling me, you should watch this thing on YouTube, and they're, and I'm telling them about you guys, and I actually forward your station to this. It was a couple, a man and a woman.
Oh, cool.
And the man was like, "I'm not going to be voting," and I'm like, "Why?" And his wife was like, "I'm voting for Trump," and I'm like, "Well, you got to get him to vote. Like every vote counts."
Exactly.
So true.
But
so
I live
true.
in Philadelphia, and the majority of the signs on my street are Biden. It really scares me.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh, you know what I found out from a Republican Party worker is that as they're going through these neighborhoods, they're finding out that a lot of the Republican voters, the likely voters for Trump, are actually putting up their signs inside their homes. So that when they have people over, they see.
Do you think something like in Philly, where I live here, where it's extremely, Democratic and liberal, do you think a lot of people that are Trump supporters are putting Biden signs out so that people don't trash their homes and
Could
stuff?
be.
I considered that for sure. Yeah.
Could
All right.
be.
Well,
When I was in Maine, I go to Maine every summer, and there was literally, you'd go out, you'd be on the main highway, and Trump supporters would be out on the road with signs, and everybody was honking, and then you'd go through the suburb, the neighborhood, and there'd be 2 Biden signs. That's it for miles.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
crazy.
He doesn't have he doesn't have the support. He doesn't have the enthusiasm, you know. So I wouldn't be worried
None.
at all. You know, just keep doing what you're doing. Make sure that you vote, and make sure that you tell everyone that you know that they should vote for Donald Trump. All right. Well, listen, I appreciate your call, and thank you for handing out my channel. But we're already over time, and so that's the end of the show.
Great, Zach. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Have a great night.
God bless. Bye.
God bless you as
Thanks,
well.
man.
Awesome. All right. Well, John, another good one in the can. I appreciate you being here. I want to give you the last word. Go ahead.
It's great. Thanks so much, everybody. Please follow me on Twitter, John X DeSouza. Follow me on go check out my channel on YouTube, John DeSouza on YouTube, and check out my website, johntamabooks.com. And remember, I am selling my book, The Para Investigators, to try to teach people how to be para investigators themselves. And I have a 20% discount at my website using code FBI.
FBI. Beautiful thing. All right, John, once again, I appreciate you being here. It's always a great time. And thank you to everybody who hung out with us tonight. I appreciate you guys keeping the chat comfy. Thank you to all of the mods. Once again, you guys, if you are in the chat and you're unable to chat, YouTube is blocking it, and unfortunately, there's nothing I can do about it. So just continue to show up. Maybe sign in and sign out, sign into your account, clear your internet cache, maybe try a different browser, see if that works. But either way, be back tomorrow at 9 p.m. for Dr. Ginger McKinsey. We're going to be talking about Fort Hood and all of the crazy things happening there. We moved Tommy to a couple of weeks in the future. And then on Sunday, it is Dave from X22 Report. Thanks again, John. Good luck, everyone, and God bless.